Just because you can get through the day without eating a nutritious meal, just because you can get through the day on only a few hours of sleep, just because you can get through the day without taking a single break to get some fresh air or checking in with a loved one, just because you can get away with these habits now, doesn't mean that they won't wind up costing you dearly at some point in your future, if not right now. And not only that, what about instead of just getting through the day, you are living each day to the fullest, feeling on point, feeding your enthusiasm, harnessing your passion, stoking your curiosity like a flame that has always been on the verge of bursting into a sudden flash of brilliance. That kind of energy and creativity doesn't come from a cup of coffee. It comes from a mind and a body that has been fed nutritionally, but also emotionally, spiritually. Actually, I want to quote Simone here on one of the reasons she decided to step back from the 2021 Olympic Games. She said, "I feel like I'm not having as much fun as I know that for these Olympic Games I wanted to be for myself." I love that. What about fun? As adults, we underestimate the importance of incorporating play into our daily lives, of incorporating laughter into our communities. But extensive studies have proven that scheduling fun into your daily routine, get this, increases productivity, enhances creativity, promotes team morale. You know, Google doesn't have climbing walls and ping pong tables and photo booths in their offices because they want people to think it's fun to work there. It's because they get better results from their team when they encourage and incorporate play into their team's daily work lives. Look at your schedule. The more demanding your schedule is, work-wise, the more rigorous your self-care needs to be to support your energy, to support your creativity throughout the day. And any time that you feel like you don't have enough time for self-care, that is exactly when you need self-care the most. The bottom line is, high-level performance is sustainable only through high levels of self-care. Okay, so it's pretty obvious which of the three key motivators, surprise and delight them, is meant to inspire. Play, right? And the reason it's the first of the three key motivators we're going to talk about, can you list them all yet, by the way? Play, purpose, potential. Play is the most important. It's the most powerful. Actually, studies have proven that play is the number one thing that inspires human motivation and creative thinking. Monty Python's own John Cleese once said, "Creativity isn't the possession of some special talent. It's about the willingness to play." And boy, was he willing to play. That's why Zappos has a game room. That's why Google has climbing walls. It's why Patagonia has volleyball courts and bike paths. So how do we Zoomify play beyond what is already being done? The basic stuff like Zoom happy hours or pizza parties. Yes, the occasional Zoom happy hour or pizza party can be surprisingly fun, but most research shows that people view these types of meetings as just one more work obligation, right up until they arrive and start having fun. I'm not saying you shouldn't have these types of events. You should, just not very often. Maybe only about once a quarter, so you can keep the all too familiar strategy from feeling forced and also minimize your team's perception that these events are cutting into their productivity or their personal time, that they become an obligation. Here's the unexpected and more effective way to send a spark of playful energy that will revitalize your badass virtual team. By using the time that has already been allotted for weekly team meetings, even if it's just for the first or last 5 minutes, to surprise and delight them with an opportunity to play. Surprise them with a scavenger hunt where they can only get 15 seconds to try and locate each item on the list. Delight them with the surprise guests who are talented motivational speakers who specialize in leading group meditations that can lead to group games, or just lead a group game yourself. Surprise them with a random drawing for a gift card. Delight them with an impromptu show and tell, or have them sketch a self-portrait in 60 seconds and present their masterpieces to the group. Great for our graphic artist team. Surprise them with a guess how many are in the jar game and give them a prize to the winner. Delight them by wearing a funny costume or a crazy wig or giant prop sunglasses and offer absolutely no explanation. If anyone asks, just say, "I'm not sure what you mean." Let's just stay on track here. Let's get back to business. Sounds silly to you, right? Perfect! Silliness is a great sign that you're successfully incorporating a little play into your badass virtual team's workday.
Plato says you can learn a lot more about a person during an hour of play than a lifetime of conversation, which is a pretty compelling reason to implement these strategies for your virtual team, especially when there are people on your team who are logging in from all over the world like our team is, or even just people who have never met in person. What other strategies can you think to Zoomify ways to surprise and delight your team? I'd love to hear your ideas. Join the conversation and leave your thoughts for us in the comments. Oh, and one more quick discovery on the subject of play that I think is super important to mention. When it comes to companies like Zappos and Google, first unveiling their ping pong tables or video game stations to encourage their teams to play during their workday, CEOs found that people were hesitant to be caught using them for fear of looking like a slacker or something. That's old conditioning. It's keeping your nose to the grindstone kind of conditioning. So way back there conditioning. And what they discovered was that if they wanted their team members to actually use the ping pong table, then the CEOs and the managers needed to be the first ones to start playing ping pong during work hours. And many companies found that even they had to go so far as to make it daily play mandatory, just to help people start to unlearn that strong cultural conditioning that says being good at your job means you stay chained to your desk and you never look up until it's time to go home. Ugh. So actually, surprising and delighting them with play during regularly scheduled business meetings is perfect. It's a perfect Zoom way to make a little playtime kind of mandatory without creating the perception of obligation or cutting into anyone's schedule. As entrepreneurial leaders who want to build badass virtual teams in 2021, it's up to you to demonstrate what it means to lead oneself. Because without the structure of an office, it can take a spirit of an entrepreneur to stay on track, to set the bar high for incorporating play into your company culture and lead by fun example.
Do you play to your team's members' strengths when you take the time to understand what your people naturally do best? You're in a powerful position to delegate tasks in the most effective manner possible. You also set people up to win when you give them tasks that play to their strengths. This creates a high sense of morale that bonds your team together. Low talent delegators don't understand the individual strengths of their team, so they wind up frequently unsatisfied with their outcome, feeding further into that notion that they need to do everything themselves. As an added resource for you, because this is so important, I created a chart to quickly demonstrate how to use the strengths-based approach to delegating. This chart is adapted from the highly renowned principles of situational leadership theory, which is described as timeless, repeatable framework for leaders to match their behaviors with the performance needs of the individual or group that they're attempting to influence. Basically, it helps you get the most out of each member of your team by approaching them in different ways based on their level of interest and their level of knowledge. So let's take a look. And don't worry, because I'm going to give you a link in the description so you can download this chart for yourself. An employee with a low level of interest and a low level of knowledge will respond best to the herald archetype. So the herald's primary function is to provide the call to adventure. The herald seeks to provide structure to the world, and their goal is to point others in the right direction. When supporting a team member with a low level of interest, a low level of knowledge, the herald stirs something within that person that inspires them to reach deep inside themselves, to transform into the hero of their own story. The herald stays at the person's side, giving them step-by-step instructions needed to plant their feet firmly on the path of that new and exciting journey. Now we have employees with low levels of interest and high levels of knowledge. These people respond most effectively to the magician archetype. The magician is the visionary and the catalyst. Their goal is to make dreams come true. Show this type of person how their assignments will get them closer to achieving their goals, their personal goals, and you will inspire them to give you the exact results that you both really want. What about employees who have a high level of interest and a low level of knowledge? You get the best results here by approaching these people as the mentor. The mentor creates a strong sense of purpose for this employee by showing an invested interest in their growth, providing them not only with increased knowledge, but also increased self-confidence that comes from working for someone who really believes in you. The mentor accomplishes this by generously imparting the wisdom that time and experience has taught them. When an employee has a high level of interest and a high level of experience, You'll want to approach them as the explorer. The explorer's motto is, "Don't fence me in," and they inspire people to strive for more authentic and fulfilling lives. The explorer takes the place alongside this kind of team member and addresses them as a peer or as one of their best soldiers. The explorer inspires a sense of autonomy, ambition, and unlimited possibility. So there's a unique and effective resource for you to consider as you reflect on what kind of delegator you wish to become. Don't forget to grab it from the descriptions at the end of the episode.
What is your big why, your higher purpose for starting your company? And here's the question that separates a virtual team from a badass virtual team. Do you know the individual big whys of each and every member of your team? Now, we're talking about the third motivational key, purpose. So few forces on earth are more powerful than a person with a clear sense of purpose. You've seen this before, right? You can't help but notice someone with a clear sense of purpose. And the same goes for entire companies. Now, the highest purpose of any brand, any business, is to make people's lives better. What that means to your company specifically is going to be unique to you. Bombas makes people's lives better by donating a pair of socks to a homeless shelter for every pair sold. Purpose. Costco makes people's lives better by providing a living wage, great benefits, and a family-oriented company culture. Potential. Oreo cookies makes people's lives better by providing nostalgia and encouraging people to play with their food. You see, the contributions vary, but they're all valid in their own ways. They make the world a better, stronger, sweeter place. So what's your company's big why? And it's not just to make money. No higher purpose is as common as money. Your product or service is going to make people's lives better, and fulfilling that big why is 100% connected to you ultimately realizing your own personal big why, right? Your dream, your greater future. So now let's talk about your team. Everything they do for your company is bringing you closer to reaching your goals. They need you to provide them with a sense of purpose that goes beyond just filling your big why. And they even need a purpose that goes beyond earning a paycheck. Their true big why will also never be as common as money. A badass virtual team in 2021 or any year is made up of people who can see where the success of your company is going and the fruition of their own big why and its contribution to it. And it's up to you to find that convergence point. It's up to you to create opportunities for them to realize their dreams too. Shine a heavy spotlight on your company's highest purpose, your business's big why. Make it a focal point so that every member on your team knows exactly how their efforts are contributing to making the world a better place through your brand. That's step one. That's what good companies do. Badass companies bring their team members closer to their own big whys. So step two is learn the big whys of every member of your team. Find that convergence point, that almighty win-win-win, and start helping them chart out a path to their own personal definition of success. The only success is shared success. A badass leader in 2021 knows and cares about what success means for everyone on their team. And it makes their team badass because they know that as they work to help you reach your goals, they're also working in tandem to bring them closer to reaching their goals too. Great brands invest greatly in people. Okay, so as an entrepreneur, you're creating something special that's going to make the people's lives better. You know, entrepreneurs are experts in human happiness. They fuel their passions by locating common sources of human unhappiness and provide the world with a solution for it. This higher purpose of serving the greater good of humanity is the foundation of every great brand culture. Simon Manwaring says brands must become architects of community. I just love that. So why are entrepreneurs still hiring talent at $5 an hour? At that price point, you already know to some extent that you're only going to get what you pay for. Either someone's inexperienced and learning on your time, or someone doesn't know how to communicate their own value yet. How can they effectively communicate the value of your brand? How motivated will they be to do that? And at the end of the transaction, neither their lives nor the life of the brand are made better for it. Yes, having a sound financial plan is, of course, very important to the life of your brand. And yes, you should have a budget that is sustainable for you. But before you cut costs by reducing a brand's investment in people, consider investing in a consultation from a great financial planner instead. So many entrepreneurs, make the mistake of prioritizing cost and time over productivity, over brand culture. not realizing that a brand's investment in people will determine the people's investment in the brand. When it comes to knowing how to prioritize your brand culture over the cost of time, of productivity, just do what you do best as an entrepreneur. Be an expert in human happiness. Build a community and fortify that community with the love and support of your brand. Brands that act in the best interest of their employees, the stakeholders, and humanity at large will succeed in establishing their expertise, commanding leadership, and inspiring trust that will serve to strengthen the bond that they have with their brand community. This is the moment right now. Brands are in the spotlight, and it's a defining moment during a worldwide effort to heal from a collective crisis for brands to prove that they put people first. As entrepreneurs and experts in human happiness, the people are counting on us, and you're so much closer than you think to making a real impact, winning brand loyalty, and becoming an inspiration to millions. Thanks for watching. Don't miss out on a single thing. Subscribe below. And here's something else I think you'll love.